Sheldon Primus.
Welcome to the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus, where we blend safety smarts with business brilliance and a pinch of Sheldon's signature wit. Whether you're a safety pro, a fresh-faced consultant, or just safety curious, get ready for a show that'll educate, entertain, and elevate your safety game. Let's dive into the art of consulting with your safety Sherpa himself, Sheldon Primus.
This episode is powered by Safety FM.
All right. Thanks for all you guys who are listening today. This is Sheldon Primus with the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus. Look at that. I feel like Donnie Church. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show where I teach you the business of being a safety consultant. Teach you about OSHA compliance. We learn about just principles for EH&S, environmental health and safety, and some other stuff, right? So welcome to the show. It's a show where I'm going to help you today see what we could do with growth for our organization. I want to let you guys know my technique, if it would, for navigating the U.S. market when it comes to actually finding out where OSHA's activity will be. Those of you outside the U.S. market, the resources that I'm going to show you to help the individuals in the U.S. market is actually resources you could use as well. So I am not just focusing on the U.S. market here. I have resources that are going to help you globally, and it's coming from what's called a compliance letter, where the COSHO, Compliance, Safety, and Health Officer, CSHO, they actually have certain activities that they need to do, and in order for them to do their activities related to compliance inspections, they follow what's called a field operation manual. It's a big book, but then they also have compliance letters and guidance for hazard-specific things, and that's what I'm going to help you guys understand. But before we go, I just want to thank our sponsor for the show today, AgriSphere. It's just solutions for truly, they've got a multiple array of solutions that you guys could have for EH&S software. And I'm so happy that they're sponsoring this episode because software is going to really help you guys for EH&S. It's going to make your systems and your programs be even more efficient, but then the recall of data is going to help you get smarter. And that's why I'm just so grateful for our sponsor today. But before we get into that, I actually have something that I want you guys to hear. This is going to be an episode I did with the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of OSHA, Jordan Barab. He was number 2 under Dr. Michaels when President Barack Obama was in office in the U.S. So I asked him not several years ago, March of last year. We actually did an interview. I'm going to see if I can get him back in the show. It's about a year ago. Wow. So in this show, I asked him about the roles of the Republican Party versus the roles of the Democratic Party when they take over the administration, the role of OSHA, I should say, with these parties as they're being taking over and advancing their actual cause, I guess, or their mindset. So that's a president will give basically each president in the U.S., when they come in, they get to place people that they want to head different departments. So the Deputy Assistant Secretary of OSHA, or Assistant Secretary of State, Secretary of Labor for OSHA, is Dr. Michaels at this time, when Jordan Barab was the assistant. They did a bunch of great initiatives. So I want you guys to hear him when I ask him a question. And if you want to go back to the archives, this is Season 4, Episode 258. And listen to what he says, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you guys some tips for what to do for this season with OSHA. So let's listen up. I teach a lot of classes regarding OSHA compliance with a group that is OTIEC, and one of the things that I always tell my students, and help me with maybe a round of fact or fiction right here. So one of the things that I tell my students is, generally speaking, if you have a Democrat in office for president, they're going to end up doing more. OSHA will end up being more compliance enforcement, and if you have a Republican in office, it's more compliance assistance, if any compliance. And that's the first thing. Fact or fiction on that one? Let's start with that.
Yeah, I think that's fact. Democrats, I think, are more focused on, ensuring compliance and focusing on enforcement and focusing on, those employers that are really not in compliance with the Occupational Safety and Health Act or with good practices. Republicans are always saying, well, we shouldn't be so confrontational. We should just work together and, that kind of thing, which, it's again, what you said, I think, is generally true, but it's not black or white because we did an enormous amount of compliance assistance. I think the difference between our compliance assistance and the average Republican compliance assistance is that we really tried to focus our compliance assistance on particularly vulnerable workers, maybe immigrants or non-union or non-English speaking workers, those who are most vulnerable and least likely to know how to use their rights or least willing to use their rights. And Republicans tend to focus on providing assistance to companies, things like the Voluntary Protection Program. They're much more enthusiastic about, I think, than Democratic administrations are. So that, but on the other hand, the Republicans also do a lot of enforcement when they're there. That there are certain cases that you have to take, whether you're Republican or Democrat. If somebody's killed in the workplace, if there's a complaint or there's a serious incident, whether you're Republican or Democrat, you're going to go out and investigate it, and you're going to probably cite. And the gray area is how big are the citations going to be, how many willfuls are there going to be, and again, Democrats generally will have the larger cases than the Republicans. But again, it's not totally black and white where Republicans just stop doing enforcement or Democrats stop doing compliance assistance. Everybody it's required by law to do both essentially.
All right. So as you're listening to that, I want you guys to kind of visualize for me just the activities that you would think that no matter what administration, OSHA is going to go ahead and do regulations. So typically that's going to be high hazard industries or high hazard processes, procedures, high hazard things such as heat stress, combustible dust, fall protection, right? So that means now if OSHA is still going to do some regulation, and some of the regulation is, well, not some, the regulation is going to be targeted. Targeted regulation is just truly looking for high hazard, high exposure things. If you want to learn how OSHA does that, go to the Field Operation Manual. I believe it's in Chapter 6, and you can see how OSHA classifies risk, and they'll do a risk probability and severity calculation, but there's no multiplication in that. They don't do probability times severity equals risk. That's some other disciplines. Well, it's our discipline, but just another way of calculating risk. But in OSHA, they actually have 4 categories of probabilities, 2 categories of severity. 2 categories of probability or severity, and 4 categories of probability. I'm confusing myself. Just go to the Field Operation Manual. That's going to get you out. So, in knowing that, the next thing that you're going to need to do, and my general rule, if you guys don't remember, for those of you that are new listeners, so my general rule is you're not going to be going on the internet while you're driving. Right? So you're going to be listening right now, and then, listen to the whole episode, listen again when you get home, and then now you can follow the actual links I'm going to give you. The OSHA website is osha.gov. So when you get there, well, actually, you could go osha.gov, and you're going to type in the search box NEP, and what that stands for is National Emphasis Program. So the NEP itself is going to help you and it's going to guide you once you get there. So type in NEP, follow that link. That's going to be the top link that says active National and Special Emphasis Program Index. That's what it's going to say. It'll be either recommended by the U.S. Department of Labor after you do that search. So then click on that button, and then what you are witnessing are hazards that are going to be related to pretty much high hazard things. So combustible dust is on the list, fall protection, hazardous machinery, heat, hexchrome, lead, primary metals industry, process safety management. Duh. It's got a whole lot of chemicals, right? Ship breaking, silica, trenching and excavation, and warehousing and distribution. All right, so when you get to this page, you see all those hazards. That's the national emphasis programs. There are also local emphasis programs. So when you do the local emphasis, that's when you're going to see it's broken down locally into regions. So you'll see the regions set up. I'm clicking on it right now. Forgive the outside sound. But the regions right now are Boston, New York, Philly, Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Kansas City, Denver, San Francisco, and Birmingham. So with these regions, you're actually select the region you're in, and then go ahead and click the hyperlink to that region, and you'll see the regions broken up into states for you guys in the U.S. For those of you guys outside of the U.S., just go through all the regions, because you really need to follow a PDF link. And I'm going to, as soon as you click a region, it kind of has a drop-down menu, and then it tells you the hazard that's specific for that region. So I'm starting with the Boston region right on top. It's got a local emphasis program on seafood processing industry. Again, yeah, of course, Boston, that whole area, Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont. That's a big portion of the U.S. seafood processing industry. So, all right, that makes sense, right? So same thing, you just go through the list, but you'll see a heading, and then next to the heading, you're going to actually see a PDF. So you want to click on the PDF that's next to the heading. And the PDF is going to give you details of how the compliance officer will do their compliance activity. So therefore, if you're going to select, and I'm going to select back to the National Emphasis Program, I'm going to select trenching and excavation. Once you select trenching and excavation, you get to see exactly how the process and procedure will be for the compliance officer when they show up. All right, so that's the informational part that everybody could use. But the planning part is going to be more of, or I should say the part that you're going to use for your organization is, now that you know that OSHA is going to most likely still be using or doing compliance activities in these areas, because generally speaking, when you do get into, well, not even generally speaking, this time we actually have a past president that is a current president. And in the last 4 years of the Trump administration, President Trump, was some compliance enforcement, and the compliance enforcement was pretty much the national emphasis program stuff, the regional things. So now, you know, if you're looking at this list on the NEP list with me, you see the combustible dust, fall protection, all that other stuff. Those are the companies that you're going to be looking for to actually help keep your business running, right? So regulation for all industries is not going to be likely now. So you want to focus in on these entities, or at least areas that has exposure to these hazards. So therefore, if you do have the entities that have exposure to these hazards, they're going to need help. And guess what? Help can actually come from you. Yes, that is true. You could just go into a place after you kind of like search it out and be like, I am here to help. So generally speaking, that's what we're going to be looking for. And I'm going to, when I come back, I'm going to kind of like show you guys what you should be doing to reach out for these different potential clients. All right. So again, when we come back, I'm going to show you what to do with this information. So I'll see you right back in just a few.
We'll be back with more of Sheldon Primus and the Safety Consultant Show in just a moment.
Safety decisions shouldn't be guesswork. With AgriSphere, you get real-time data, predictive analytics, and industry-leading training designed to keep your workforce safe and your business compliant. Whether you're aiming for OSHA VPP or ISO 45001, our solutions help you document, track, and approve safety like never before. See the future of EHS today at agrisphere.com.
We now return to the Safety Consultant Show. Once again, here's Sheldon Primus.
All right, gang. So we're coming back here. I want you guys to just know how to basically approach people like this, right? So with your approach, what you're looking to do is first you're going to, again, find industries that have this hazard. What you can do is copy the hazard, like select it and do the copy and paste. So I'm on the OSHA NEP site. The very top hazard is combustible dust. I did my mouse to select combustible dust and to highlight it, if you would. The words I did copy on combustible dust so I could have that with me. So now that I'm copying it, I'm going to navigate to OSHA's website, and I'm going to look for the data and statistics page. And on the data and statistics page, that's going to actually help me just kind of like fine tune what my search would be. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for inspection data on the data page, osha.gov/data. And I'm going to, again, I already copied combustible dust, right? So I'm going to do investigation search, and I'll give you summaries. So I am going to paste combustible dust right into when I hit investigation summaries. So again, this is where I am. I went to data and statistics, and then when you get to data and statistics, you want to hit inspection data, which is kind of like in the middle of that page. And then when you get there, you're going to want to look for investigation searches and summaries. And then when you get there, just paste that hazard that you just copied into either the box that says description or the box that says abstract. You could now kind of wean down or just look at a certain area. So first thing that you want to do is, if you're a static safety consultant, search your region. So just do a search for OSHA office and then select the region that you're in. And then now you can look for your regional office. If you travel all around, then honestly, you could do this search like I do, which is put in the keyword, select the dates. I put in the keyword combustible dust, which was the first one. The dates start at 2002 to 2026. So I'm going to actually just do a 5-year search. Let's do 2020, starting at 2020. So if I'm starting at 2020, do that search. And now as I do that search, OSHA's going to spit back some information. I got nothing for the description on combustible dust in that time frame. So what I do next is I'm going to go ahead and put that same combustible dust in, or that terminology I copied, in the abstract and run it again. So I'm hitting the abstract, and there you go. I got something on combustible dust, and I did it first in the description, nothing. Then I did it in the abstract, boom, got it. So now I see that there's been an incident. Once I go into the inspection report, then it's going to tell you the company's name. It tells you the mailing address. It tells you the NAICS code. So now that you have the NAICS code, which is North American Industry Classification System, that's the coding, I would copy that NAICS code from that first inspection that I found. So once you get that inspection and you get that NAICS code from the person who's been cited, you're going to need to navigate on OSHA's website again. So now that I've got that code, I'm going to go back to data and statistics. And when you go to data and statistics, you may hear me clicking in the background. I'm going to go back to inspection data. And this time I'm going to look for industry profile for OSHA by NAICS code. Actually, no, I want to do most frequently cited standards first. So let's see, most frequently cited standard, it's going to be my first look. You could also do just kind of fiddle around with this information, but typically speaking, you're going to look for the most frequently cited standard, and I'll say frequently cited standard from OSHA. You paste in your NAICS code, and then from there, you're going to start seeing when OSHA cites, these are the things that they're going to be citing for that industry by NAICS code. So at that point, you know this is the services I'm going to provide for this organization, because chances are these are the things that OSHA is going to be looking for if they do show up. So this search results, what it's doing for you is the search results are going to get you to where you're at least going to find out these are the services you're going to provide. So this is when you get your letters in and everything else, you're going to send your email, your cold email or whatever, saying, I could provide these things. And those are the things that the employer should be looking to solidify. So now what you're going to do is you're going to try to do a search for organizations in your area that have that NAICS code. You could do it by truly establishment searching if you know someone, or you could honestly just truly start listening out. Grow bigger ears, if you would. Listening through networking groups. You're going to be listening through, actually, if you're going to physical networking, listen that way. And then there's OSHA, too. Not OSHA, I'm sorry. Then there's the like ASSP, National Safety Council, any of those places that you could go out and you could get just network. That's really what you're looking for. You're looking for networking to find this. Then the next thing you could literally do is a Google search that says what this area, and you want to just kind of figure out, this is my area, and the Google search is going to be related to, I picked up combustible dust. What's combustible dust? Probably going to be some sort of construction activity. So you want to check that out. But if there is an area that's doing, let's say, sandblasting or something like that, that's a general industry, that's going to be someone that's going to be looking for. So if you get caught up as to what type of industry does combustible dust, then go back to that NEP, look for that hazard again, and in the NEP, it's going to kind of list out companies or industries that will be regulated under this. And so you want to check that out, okay? Let's see. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I need to have you guys with. And honestly, I do not. So I think at this point, I may have actually given you everything that I need to give you to get you started with this. Hold on. Does that mean like I'm done? Yeah! Yes, I could be done. So think about it, all right? Remember that there is still going to be compliance, even though we know that according to not only Jordan, but what I've seen historically, Republicans will be more of compliance assistance, where Democrats will be more of compliance enforcement. Of course, there's enforcement throughout. So what you're really trying to do is you're trying to leverage the enforcement for a certain industry to help grow your business. And that's what consultants do. So I just want to make sure that I help you guys get ready for this. These are the areas that you should be looking for to help grow your business. And just keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, so that you could hear people that says, oh man, I need some help with this and help with that. And you'll be ready. You'll be ready to go, all right? So give you some good information, digest this stuff, and then do it. So go get them.
That's a wrap for today's safety show. Remember, safety isn't just about hard hats and caution signs. It's about business smarts too. Thanks for joining us on the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus. Until next time, stay safe, stay savvy, and keep consulting like a boss. Go get 'em. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast or broadcast are those of the host and its guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within the past hour, only examples. It should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the positions of the company. No part of this podcast or broadcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast or broadcast, Sheldon Primus.
This episode has been powered by Safety FM.